season of The Ambitious Sloth podcast. I'm Julian, your host, and I'm happy to have you here. And in this trailer episode, I'm going to tell you briefly about why I decided to create a second season and why I decided to also slightly switch the focus of this podcast. And so basically, to start with, okay, why did I even now started putting it into two different seasons is because of my personal change I went through in the last months, or basically also in the last year. And starting from the first season, which started because of the reason that I was working quite a lot and didn't have the connection with the other people. I was missing the depth of conversation, the depth of the connection with other people. And for me, that was reason enough to then start doing a podcast, just to interview people that I find interesting and learn something new, but also just get into deep conversation with other people. That was also the initial thought of the podcast. But it obviously started out with me interviewing other people who were also in entrepreneurship quite active, or were at least into this working environment in which I started out as well. And so that was then the kind of the starting point. And so I started with, the self-development. Okay, how can I, or what can I ask people to self-improve? What do I want to ask them in terms of, what can I learn from them? Any tips or techniques to get better and to get more comfortable with growing, and just learn something from them in terms of really practical advices from people who went through similar processes. And that was also great. I learned a lot of stuff from different people. However, in the last couple of months, this shifted a bit for myself, because I feel I listened to a lot of other people who were doing that. I listened to a lot of other things on YouTube or podcasts, or just read books about it. And at some point, I felt really that I had enough. That I had enough of people telling their own way of dealing and growing with different topics, and that at some point became quite apparent that everybody has their own solutions and had their own ways to deal with things and had their own goals. And then at some point it became more even clearer that the biggest or the most important aspect is really listen to yourself, listen to what your body, your mind is telling you, not to be distracted by the opinion of others, but really listen to yourself. What is, if you wouldn't have to think about anything outside of you, what would you decide to do? And those kind of questions I ask myself more and more, and it became really apparent that there's obviously some people I can learn practical things from them if I want to learn how to audio edit, how to video record, how to do any other practical things like those, but not really in terms of how should I live my life, because that you most certainly know best yourself. And that then became also the way or the reason for me to start this. And also due to the experience I had now for over a year, which is interviewing people, getting to know them, but learning techniques, I really wanted to switch this up a bit, and we got a lot more confident in interviewing people, and also that I can and want to have a more conversational podcast in which I discuss topics which are essentially not right or wrong, and just have a great and deep connection with the guests I have, and learns something by seeing a different perspective, and learn something by adding something to the worldview I have, instead of just adding a new technique or a new meditation or journaling or like planning technique, a task, more efficient, whatever, like any of those, but instead really learn something by getting a different perspective of important, meaningful things that are basically important for every one of us. And yeah, also by getting more confident, I also felt that I was able to reach out to new and different and other people that I wouldn't have done before, because I wasn't believing enough that this might be a worthy and proper and good thing to spend time on. And therefore I didn't do it before, but now it seems, or yeah, it is just really changed, and it has changed, and I want to create this new experience. So in those new seasons, or in this new season, the second season, I really focus on getting different people on the podcast and interview them, obviously, but a bit more trying to have an interactive conversation with them and speak about topics that usually people are not talking about, and asking questions that are just out of the daily conversations you have. Things like, what do you want to be remembered for? What would change if you only had 6 months to live? What are some of the true desires you have but don't really execute on? What is happiness for you? What is love for you? What is your meaning in life? And those kind of topics don't really seem well. They obviously are not discussed in daily conversations, because that's just not practical. We just don't talk about it. And yeah, I really focused on those, because that also gives then a lot more depth into those conversations, and that's just what I enjoy much more than giving or having a new practical tip that you can use for I don't know, like being 5 minutes more efficient in your day. This was getting a bit more ridiculous at some point for me, so that's why I wanted to change. And actually, one of the also starting points was that I just randomly, because I found Colin Wright on the internet while searching for minimalism and intentionalism, that I just texted him an email, and after like a day, he already replied and said, "Yeah, sure, let's do a podcast about it." And it's like, what? I didn't expect that he would actually even answer, and obviously not even getting a positive reply was out of my mind. And so that showed me that this is actually something worth doing, worthwhile, and I want to make this an even more valuable source for other people as well, so they start thinking about those topics, because it helped for me tremendously to really change up the way I live, and to be honest, just live a lot better in terms of like I'm enjoying the life a lot more that I do, and can be more active in the things I really want to do, and that I'm after, just because I know a lot. Well, I'm not sure whether this is the obviously final purpose thing what I'm doing, but at least I have a clearer vision of the next few months, maybe a year, on where I want to go. And this is something I want to share with others, because that has helped me tremendously to get different perspectives in my life and then put something important out. Yes, that has become a longer episode than I expected, but I felt that this might be, for some people, obviously, only interesting to know, okay, why did it change, and why am I putting out the second season, and what is it all about? And yeah, I really would like to give to share those different perspectives that I've gotten, to give opportunity to think about different topics that are usually not discussed, and to just really put the spotlight on some aspects in life that are usually a bit covered. And it might help some people to rethink their current life, and rethink what their goals and visions are, but also what they're capable of. That has been a huge topic for me as well, like the self-confidence, self-efficacy, the belief in oneself, to actually create those things. This is also one of the important things for me with the podcast. So if I can just not contribute, but also like give this message to other people, that there is that there is a huge change when you start believing yourself. And probably throughout the interviews you will also hear a lot more from my story on how I got there, and what changed for me in the past year. Or if you would like to, I can also share some solo episodes if some of you would like to listen to that. Just let me know through any message or whatever. But yeah, the main thing is really to that I would like to give those different perspectives and to others, and maybe motivate them to see their own value as well. So yeah, thanks for listening until now already. At the same time, I will also publish the first new episode with Max Elster, and he was also the first guest I interviewed for the new season. And so I'm really curious what you think about, and how you react to it. So obviously, always let me know how you liked it. Leave a review or a comment on anything on YouTube or iTunes, or just text me on Instagram. And obviously, if you really get something out of this, or get an insight, or liked something what has been said during the interview, it is amazing if you would share it, because there are just a lot of people out there who are struggling with that, which I experience more and more actually now that I obviously focus on that. And there might be a person that needs this like start or initial energy to change something, and maybe you have somebody in mind who can profit from that. If not, it would still be awesome to share, and maybe you realize that some people are getting value out of that you wouldn't have thought before. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time to listen to this until now. And I wish you a great day, and hopefully you enjoy the new episodes of the second season as much as I do. And I try to keep this up on a bi-monthly basis, so you can constantly have new interviews and episodes with amazing new guests. And I'm really excited about the new guests I really also got, because that is something that I didn't expect beforehand, but now I think I've already recorded 7 or 8 episodes. So yeah, enjoy. And obviously along the way, feedback is always really well appreciated. Have a great day, and yeah, have a wonderful life. Goodbye. I'll see you in the next episode, obviously. So don't miss that.